Hello everyone and welcome back once again to Microsoft Flight Simulator. Welcome to Las Vegas, Nevada, and welcome to Nellis Air Force Base underneath us now. We're going to be taking a look at both Nellis and the Tonopah Test and Training Range Airfield just north of Las Vegas. And there's some pretty cool goodies and some pretty cool scenery for both. I personally think Tonopah is a little bit more polished, but Nellis definitely had an overhaul. So without further ado, we're going to hop in our India Fox Techo F-35 down there, get loaded out, take a look around Nellis, and then get underway. We're also going to take a look at some of the options for simulated engagements at the Nevada Test and Training Range. Let's begin. Alright, so as you know on this channel, always a full disclosure event. We don't really hide things, and I'm just going to let you guys know this is probably the 12th or 13th, maybe lucky 13th time that I'm trying to record this, but the scenery is just that good that I want to share it with you guys. I have had so many issues with OBS, so many issues with my physical hardware, with digital pass-throughs, audio codecs, video codecs, you name it, I've had that issue, but I think I've got it ironed out this time. So we're going to give it a shot. If you're seeing this, then it worked. Or I just gave up and said, this is good enough. I'm not going for 14. But nonetheless, so we talked straight through it. What's wrong with me? We've got some DeSilver Rafales, very nice foreign aircraft, Delta Wing design, French origin, followed up by some FA-18Fs. You can tell that they are Fs because of the twin canopy and the lack of EW pods. The EA-18G has a twin canopy, but it has EW pods as well as some external fuselage differences from the normal Super Hornet, the good old Growler. Some interesting static characters around here. We're not going to really focus on them for too long. There's some cool animated guys down at Tonopah. We'll get to those F-35s in just a second, but here they'll pop in just a second. 3, 2, there they are. A pair of MQ-9 Reapers. You can always tell the Reaper apart from the Predator because the MQ-9, the tail fins go up, whereas on the Predator, they go down. The Reaper also has a 3-bladed prop instead of a 2-blade, and I don't want to say this for certain, but the Reapers that I've seen in real life all have a winglet design on them, on the edges of the wing. I don't know if that's a certain block upgrade or not, but all of the Reapers that I've seen, and I've seen quite a few, have that add-on. Next are the F-35s. The generic F-35A model here, you can tell the stark difference between the ground scenery model and our India Fox Techo F-35, looking clean, crisp, and just all around great. Love this airplane. Can't wait to get in it today. Some more static pilots. Moving on, continuing in Gen 5 land, we've got some F-22 Raptors that we're going to take a look at here. Again, you're going to notice just kind of in general, just a slightly lower fidelity on all of the aircraft, all of the assets here at Nellis compared to Tonopah. I'm not saying this is bad by any extent. God, if you remember what the original Nellis looked like, this is a godsend. So we're not going to mark them down too much. They do have the same missiles, so you've got AIM-9Xs. I believe those would normally be on the... Yeah, AIM-9Xs. It's what the F-22's gotten its 3 air kills with recently. We don't talk about current events on this channel, though. Anyway, moving on, and then you've got those 6x AIM-120s. I believe they're AIM-120Ds, the newest and best. Boy, frame rate is just absolutely taking a shite on me. I've had flight sim open for a couple hours working on OBS. Anyway, F-15Cs. Nothing too special to see, just a decent-looking F-15C model. No cockpits or anything to speak of, but the external model is there, and that we love. Continuing through these nice add-on hangars that they've added. These are pretty reminiscent of the shelters you'll see at Nellis. I think they're a little bit more tan and slightly more permanent, but I could be wrong. More F-15Cs. We've got an accompaniment of C-130 variants. So we've got a C-130J, this appears to be, with those 6-bladed props. Not scimitar style, that's usually how you can tell a C-130J. Back there, there's an F-117 Nighthawk. Not very well done, in my opinion. It could use a little bit of polish on the external model, but hey, it's here. We like it. Not a huge fan of that U.S. Air Force design there, but Just try and keep all of these models in mind as we head over, or once we get over to Tonopah, you'll just see there's just a little bit more polish on some of the ground models. Again, not saying any of this is bad. And then we have, of course, the AC-130 Spooky, or Spectre, one of those two, complete with its twin 25mm, 40mm, and 105mm howitzer ornament. You can see that targeting pod on the bottom, or I should say it's an imaging system, not necessarily a targeting pod. It does help you target, but it's an imaging system. Moving on down, there's some more F-15s. There's a couple generic vehicles I passed over. This is a Oshkosh, I believe, early 7-ton truck. Some generic fuel trucks, some nice add-on tugs. These are the same as what we'll see at Tonopah, so that's cool. More F-15s, a pink truck. Then we have a Hemet by Oshkosh Defense. Again, kind of just a slightly lower poly model. Not bad at all. We love to see it. More F-15s, would you believe it? So we actually, okay, so we do have variation in the F-15s. These are I'm assuming aggressor just by the WA marking. There's proper aggressors down there, which we'll take a look at in a second. And then I skipped over, there's some, here they are, Massachusetts, I'm assuming Air National Guard F-15s, so a little bit of variation in the F-15s, that's always cool to see. My camera is crooked, and let's rectify that. Okay, whatever, hey, it's fine, we'll deal with it. On to the other aggressor F-15s, very nice blue and desert camo. Always cool to see these guys out for red flag and the other joint and U.S. independent exercises. Did we go past the Thunderbird hangar already? We did. It's right here. No F-16s and Thunderbird colors, but nonetheless, you do have the Thunderbird hangar model here. So that's always fun to see. I am going to restart the sim after we finish this whistle stop. It's been running in the background for about, oh, look it. As soon as I said that, it started behaving. I am going to restart it either way, though. It's been running for like 2 hours, and Flight Sim usually gets pretty pissy after about an hour, hour and a half on my computer, no matter what you're doing. Generic AARF fire truck. Nothing special there. Those are on all of the airports. We've got some C-17 Globemaster 3s from McCord Air Force Base. These are the same C-17s, those of you guys who watched my review of the C-17 mod. These are the same assets. Still looking very nice. We have a C-5M Super Galaxy getting loaded up with this custom pallet loader and these custom pallets here. Always cool to see C5 when you can. Little wonky design on the tail there, but hey, we're still here for it. Next up is the KC-10 Extender, which in my opinion is probably one of the best ground models that you're going to find here on this Nellis scenery. Just a little bit more polish, a little bit more crisp textures. Obviously not perfect, but pretty dang good if you ask me. Moving on to the rotary wing side of the airport. You can see in the immediate vicinity we've got a CV-22 and an MV-22 Osprey. And their various stored configurations. One with the tilt rotors up. Looks like he's getting ready for a sortie or coming back from one. And then you've got one that's full-on parked with the tilt rotors in the down condition. What do we want to show next? We've got MH-60s. I know they're not SH-60s. SH-60s you can always tell because the tail wheel, instead of being in this position here, it usually is right around there on the empennage. So we'll just call these Air Force Rescue MH-60s, but not the best at IDing those. We have an AH-64D longbow. We can always tell the longbows because of that radome on the top. I think that's all the U.S. flies now is the longbow. They've all either been built as or upgraded to longbows, but don't quote me on that. I don't know for sure. Everyone that I've seen has been a longbow in the past recent years, but maybe there's a straggler or two out there. Two more Apaches and a Kiowa. Always cool to see a Kiowa. I went to school with a guy who worked on these. Loved them. Wouldn't shut up about them. We love them too. Couple hush houses that you would 100% blow that back wall out of if you put any sort of turbofan or turbojet engine in them. But hey, again, scenery. We like it. We love it. Let's get over to the other side of the field here, and we'll take a look at the few aircraft we've got over there. And here we are on the threshold of, what runway is this? I don't know, we'll figure it out in a second. Let's run through our takeoff checklist real quick. External lights, we will set those now. Let's go ahead and arm the seat. It's on the checklist, I know that for a fact. Engine page is good, good hydro pressure, good temperatures. Throttle will set. We're not doing a short takeoff in a B model. Once airborne, landing gear handle up. I can do that. Alright, cool. So let's leave the FCS and the EFI page up. And then I'm going to go and turn on our HMD to a off-board sight. Check that real quick. Left and frozen. Right. That looks good. Let's go ahead and take the active. Boy, is that a real nice looking sunset, or sunrise, actually, rather. Nice looking sunrise. Over at Nellis. Wanted to showcase a little bit of the F-35 in some low lighting conditions. Don't know why I taxed it out like we're doing a two-ship. We're definitely not, but it's alright. We'll roll with it. Alright, let's go. Quick PHM check. That's fine. We don't need guns or SMS yet. Alright, brakes on. Run it up. Full mill. Alright, brakes off. Ready now. And into burner. Ready now. Still a very automated process, the F-35 takeoff. So it always looks a little bit jerky getting her off of and back onto the ground. Alright, we'll come out of burner. Save some gas. And we'll come out left here over the Las Vegas Motor Speedway and give those guys something cool to look at. So we get turned out for Tonopah. Flight Tampa Las Vegas scenery looking very nice. But we're not here for Vegas scenery, we're here for NTTR scenery. So we're in a unrestricted climb up to Angels 30, flight level 300. So we're going to go ahead and take advantage of that here. We'll get lined up on our nav point. And just a dab of burner as we finish correcting here. Pretty strong winds today. Wasn't a factor for the F-35 though. I didn't mention it, but we took off essentially into a direct tailwind. But in a mill jet, it doesn't really make a difference. Anyway, we will configure out here for our cruise now. And continue onward towards Tonopah. And I'll check in with you guys once we're a lot closer. It's about a half-hour flight for me, so I'm going to buckle in, and let you guys sit tight. And still en route to the NTTR, but you can see out there is a nondescript airbase that only very, very special airplanes are allowed to fly to. That's going to be our next scenery overview. One of the cooler ones. Not as cool as Tonopah in my opinion, but still cool nonetheless. Area 51. Homing airfield, also known as Kilo X-Ray Tango Alpha, off to the right. So we are about, I don't know, 60-ish miles from our engagement point. We're flying, oh, supersonic, oops. F-35 just gets up and scoots a little bit. We'll reduce power down a little bit, dump some speed brakes, and get slowed down below supersonic. And continue on our way to our engagement zone. Right, we are just about 20 nautical miles away from our engagement zone. We're going to go ahead and hop the aircraft up, throw in our master arm. I obviously don't have any means of deploying any actual weapons. This is flight sim, not DCS or X-plane. But we're going to simulate some attacks here. So on board we've got 2 times, and you might have noticed I switched them out, 2 times GPS guided bombs, and then 2 AIM 120s in our weapons bay. So we're going to go ahead and target that initial EW, early warning radar, and we'll pickle out here. Obviously it would be doing that on the T FLIR pod. I have no way of actually controlling it. It's all grayed out. So just here to simulate, have a good time, have some fun. We'll get configured with our backup HUD, and we'll bombs away here. What should we call our flight? Bad flight? I like bad flight. We'll do bad flight. And bad flight 11 inbound from the east, dropping 1 times 2,000-pound GPS bomb. We're not going to bother with a 9-line or anything like that. We're just going to use some really rough nomenclature. If you want the good stuff, you'll have to check me out in DCS. But nonetheless, we've got that first munition away. It is GPS guided, so we need not laze the target. We just set our center point of interest, and we're going to roll in now and do some gun runs and defend against those SAM sites if we need. We're visual of the target. And bad flight 11 inbound from the south. Angels 15 for a gun run. I'm going to use the gun pipper, or the flight path indicator as my gun pipper, since obviously I don't have one. I'm going to light up that big ol' array down there. And bad flight 11, guns, guns, guns. Alright, munitions are away. Come off target left here. We'll sim a good shack. Boy, that RA is not happy. We'll get one more gun pass and move on to our next target. And bad flight 11 inbound from the east. Angels 9er for a gun run. Flip her over inverted. Get that FPI on target. And bad flight 11, guns, guns, guns. Ammunition's away, coming out off target left. And bad flight 11 off target. Simulate countermeasures deployment there, and then we'll get inbound for our next target, which I've got loaded on our waypoint marker there. Bad flight 11 inbound from the south, deploying single 2,000-pound munition on armor column. Weapons away. Alright, those are our bombs expelled. Those controls you're seeing are simulated SAM launches. We'll get a couple defends in on those guys too. We'll get a gun run in as well. practice a couple defends. Alright, bleed off some of the speed. Come on, son, it's only 6 Gs. You got this. Get that hick breathing in. Alright, let's try and PID some targets. That's our SAM site. Where is that, the SAM site? Is that the armor column? That is the armor column. Alright, let's break out right here. SAM launch north. Let's go defend. Countermeasures out. Not really anything good for terrain here to defend in, but we'll do our best. This is tracking. This little long range here. Let's see if we can't mask ourselves in this terrain. This looks like a good candidate right here. Alright, we'll call that guy defeated. But we didn't fully break line of sight, so in theory that radar could still be tracking us, but no way to tell for sure, considering we're not blowing up, so. We'll get a strafe run in on that armor column. Need to pull my TSD back up. Right off the nose. Bad Flight 11 inbound from the south. Angels 7 for a gun run. Not remotely how you'd probably execute one, but it looks cool, right? And Bad Flight 11 guns, guns, guns. Light all these guys up here. Come off target. Another SAM launch. Missiles tracking. Bad Flight 11 defending SA6. Alright, that's line of sight broken for sure. Call that defeated. And we'll pull hot weapons, pull up our landing checklist. We are Joker fuel. Let's do a fuel quantity check. Plenty to make it to base. In fact, we should be... Yeah, there's Tonopah right there. Not far at all. So we'll get down below 240 knots. Dump the gear. And I do a straight-in landing in the F-35. She really doesn't want to slow down. We'll maybe drop spoilers if we continue at this rate. Our final approach speed is going to be 270 knots, looking at our checklist. So we'll get down to 170. There is 230, so we'll go ahead and drop gear. And confirm 3 green, landing lights on. We'll shoot to... Jesus Christ. That's a bird. Shoot to maintain 170. Got a little bit slow, avoiding that bird strike. Adding the gear back into the equation definitely slows you down a good chunk. shoot to put that flight path marker right on the threshold there. But that is one of the nice things about operating in this NTTR scenery is you're really only a stone's throw away from Tonopah. As you saw, we did this all in real time, came off target. And there's additional targets that we could have engaged. But you basically come off target and you're set to go, so it's not a long flight if you're coming from Tonopah. It's not even that long of a flight if you're coming from Nellis, to be honest with you. It's interesting for me to see the actual true scale of the flights that the guys are doing out in Red Flag. Just because the DCS map is scaled down pretty significantly. All DCS maps are, I believe. But specifically the NTTR one. A little bit of a rough touch. Nothing the F-35 can't handle. And welcome to Tonopah. Alright, we will deconfigure down, get parked up, and then we'll take a look at Tonopah. I'll make it a little bit more daytimey as well, so we can see our assets a little bit better, but I'll check back in with you guys once we're parked up. We're sighted for Hangar 1, which is way back there, so got a little bit of a back taxi to do, but that's alright. We'll check in once we're parking. Alright, here we are rolling into our parking. Let's go ahead and finish our deconfiguration here. We will disarm our seat, since we're going to be parking in a hangar here. Don't want to eject into a hangar ceiling. I hear that's it can hurt. No marshaling today. We're just going to bring the aircraft in on our own. There's plenty of room to do it, so we shouldn't have an issue. Scraped my track IR on the pop stand there, pop filter. Whoops. That's kind of lined up right. Let's go hard left. Get nice and centered. That's good there. Alright. Park brake set. Seat is safe. Canopy open. Throttle idle. Already got the throttle set to idle. And PHM page. Let's check the status. Let's get loud. Still good there. Checklist. SMS page. Doors open. Copy. And HMD selector off. Main fuel shutoff valve close. We will confirm close. And we'll monitor the engine, make sure that EGT is falling, which it is. That's what we want. Throttle is set to off. We'll go ahead and turn off our IPP as well as our FADEC. And I believe the last step is master battery off. It is. Battery switch off. I'm also going to deconfigure our lighting that we've got going on the outside, just as an extra housekeeping bit for us. And that should be it for the F-35. We will go ahead and get a better time of day set here. I'm also going to disable track IR. Holy smokes, what are you doing there, guy? You're all sideways. There we go. Alright, and let's see, what's live time looking like? Perfect. Fantastic. Okay. So real world conditions in Vegas, or I guess in Nevada now. And we're going to head all the way to the south end and work our way back. So first up on our tour, it's missing. Okay, well there's normally a 7-3 there, but he's not there no more, not right now, which is fine. We'll take a look at him when we do our Area 51 visit. First up, then, will be the Top Aces F-16, the first civilian-operated F-16. There's a YouTube channel I watch with a fighter pilot who flies, I think, F-35s and used to fly F-16s, and he got to fly their jet as an aggressor. That was pretty cool. Next up we have a blowing American flag. Very cool to see. Next up we have, I believe this is a Sikorsky S-76, or whatever the military designation is. Someone will have to let me know in the comments. We have the Oshkosh Defense MATV, not to be confused with the JLTV. The MATV is older and bigger. Coming back out of the hangar, I think it's just some default generic. Yeah, just some default generic vehicles. Nothing too special to see there. We've got another Hammett. This one a little bit higher fidelity in the tractor configuration. You can see it's just a little bit more cleaned up, a little more polished. Coming into here, we've got not much other than this PT6 turboprop motor with a nice 5-bladed configuration on there. Another BTR. I think this one's roughly the same. This one appears to be in green, whereas the other one was a tan color. Another tractor Hammett. And a MiG-29. I believe this is a MiG-29G, but don't quote me. MiG-29, outfitted with a SD-10 and R-73 Archer on either side. And then we get some of our animated, first look at animated people. You've got a pilot on the phone with someone there, and a mechanic doing her thing down there. You can see the AIM-9 missiles, some old GM-looking van over there. And we'll come over to this F100 engine. Looking very nice, a newer variant F100 engine like you'd see in current block F-16s, I believe. Now made by GE, formerly made by Pratt & Whitney. We'll get to those guys in just a second. Now we have a Ram 2500 tow truck. It is cool to see actual licensed vehicles. There's several of these. It's either a GMC Savannah or the Chevy Express. It's unbadged, so we can call it whatever we want. This F-117 here looking very nice, especially compared to the one that we saw at Nellis. You can see just a little bits of added detail in that top mount sensor as well as the engine grills, but where it really shines is in the cockpit here. I can get you a shot in there. Look at that. That's pretty damn good if I do say so myself. Got a not correctly equipped for the F-117, but a pilot nonetheless doing some stretching exercises. Not to be outdone, we've got pilot number 2 doing the pee-pee dance. We support the pee-pee dance. Everyone should be able to do the pee-pee dance without shame. Sometimes you just gotta go and you can't. AIM-9X, as well as those same AIM-1... Yeah, I forgot it does that. Those same AIM-120Ds. Again, just kind of higher fidelity overall, especially in the cockpit of the Raptor. You can see just a little bit of added detail in the entire cockpit. Some 3D options. Nondescript ground power unit. Guy working on that there. This guy is getting ants out of his shoes next to this interesting off-road vehicle. Not sure what it is. I've seen Polaris razors used by special forces out of the back of a C-17. That's pretty cool stuff, but this is not a razor. Looks like they've got an AT-4 either side to dismount and shoot at stuff with, and then I don't really know what this is supposed to be. Is it supposed to be a M2 grenade launcher, or do you think it's more of a, what is it, M134 minigun? Not entirely sure. Moving around, let's fix the camera tilt. Not sure what happened there. Moving on to the Super Tucano. Always cool to see turboprops in the game. Slightly higher fidelity model Humvee, and a drone of unknown origin to myself. Someone will have to fill me in on who makes and operates this. It almost looks kind of like a Chinese design, and I hear you're already saying, oh, well, it's sample. Well, why would you have Chinese assets at this U.S. airbase? We'll get to it. Anyway, next up is this Soviet-era Ural. Just a off-road 4x4 vehicle. Nothing terribly spectacular about that. I do forget the designation of this vehicle, but you've got an armored truck. A couple different variations of that. There's a tan one on the other side of the far hangars that we'll take a look at as well. Some more of those pallets that were getting loaded on the C5 back at Nellis. We're going to bust through this hangar here. These guys are... I don't remember the designation. The only thing I actually do know about these are the drones that one was shot down in Iran, and they were very happy that they shot it down, and they put it up as a museum piece. Not a museum piece, but like a, haha, US, we got your drone. And now we've got a lot of other more lethal drones as a result. Anyway, moving on, we've got a Scud launcher. Not really sure what that's doing here. Russian design Scud launcher. Someone will have to fill me in on what this run dial here is. I want to say Czechoslovakia, but I could be wrong. Or is it Czech Republic now? I don't know. Forgive me. K5 frame Chevy Silverado. Looking real nice. Here's the frame with the blazer. A Striker with relatively good interior detail. I'm not sure exactly which variant of the Striker this is. I can tell you it's not the MPRS, which is the one with a cool-ass giant gun on the top. A nondescript F-Series truck. This is either a F250 or an F350. Some Super Duty. Not sure which one, though. There's no markings on it. Moving over to the control tower now. Yeah, because we've seen those guys already. Over to the control tower. We've got a MATV at the base and a relatively okay modeled control tower. I mean, you're not going to be doing any VATSIM controlling from here or anything like that, but I mean, it's fine. It's adequate for, you know, if you're out here departing and you happen to glance over at the tower, you can see some computer screens. That's all right with me. Got Captain Shake-a-Leg doing his thing. Over to the fire station. A surprising lack of AARF apparatus, but that's all right. You know, we got what we got. We got this old GMC ambulance here. I doubt anything like this is in use at a current military airfield. This guy probably is, though. Another Super Duty unmarked F250, F350. This is like a brush truck or a semi-mobile command unit, like a chief's vehicle. Probably a brush truck. Same nondescript Pierce-looking apparatus with a ladder that we saw at Nellis. And moving on, we've got a closed-up F-22 on the ramp. Fuel tank. Looks like a 300-gallon. Actually, I'm not sure what size it is, but some fuel tanks in there. This would normally be a GMC cherry picker basket. Some V22 rotors. These were at Nellis as well. I just didn't, I forgot to show them, but there's some more for you. Empty hangar. Empty hangar. And here's another Hemet. This one outfitted to do refueling. And the only aircraft that I don't know the designation of. Someone will have to fill me in on what aircraft this is, both civilian and military designation, because there is a difference. We've got this guy here who is very not happy that someone parked there. Crown Victoria. He is just telling this poor soul off. He is just not happy about it. I mean, listen, man, I don't think he meant to park it here. You know, he saw a gray airplane, gray car. You know, maybe... okay, all right. Listen, all right, never mind. All right, we'll move on. Okay, we're moving on. We're moving on. King Air 350i. Always cool to see. It's interesting they didn't use the default to Sobo one. I actually kind of like the fact that they didn't use the default to Sobo one, because the default to Sobo one has the Textron delivery colors as defaults, and I like seeing this definitely fits a more military style theme. There's actually a Beech 1900. Let's go look at that real quick. There's a Beech 1900 on the far side of the field, at least there usually is a Beech 1900 on the far side of the field. Let's see if that's there. You're normally right over here. And you're not. Okay, no Beech 1900. Moving on. Normally there's a Beech 1900 there and a 737 outfitted with a whole bunch of EW stuff, but it's okay. Moving back to where we left off. We're going to whistle stop tour these guys here. This is the hangar array that we parked in. So you've got empty hangars, empty hangars, empty hangars. I think the first aircraft we're going to see is right here, the Eurofighter Typhoon. I got to slow my drone camera back down again. Outfitted in RAF colors. Not a relatively high fidelity model of any way, shape, or form, but cool to see nonetheless. We love variety in our scenery, so we will take it. Empty hangar. Then on to a Su-25 Frogfoot. Not really sure the operator of this one. I'm guessing solely based on the digital camo that it is a Ukrainian aircraft. They're kind of known for their sort of digital urban camo sort of deal, and I believe the Ukrainian Air Force operates Su-25s, originally a Russian design. We've got a F-35 with missing wheel textures. This appears to be, what's that insignia? Is that Italian? Italian Air Force? I'm not sure. It would be interesting to see developers, like proper scenery developers. This is obviously just a small, love child freeware scenery. But for the bigger stuff, it'd be cool to kind of see actual people work with, like India FS.to, right? You wanted an F-35 on your ramp, then there's an F-35 static model by India FS.to, and we'll actually see that in a different scenery. Su-34, which is an interesting color scheme for this one. I don't think anyone other than the Russian Air Force currently operates the Su-34. And to my knowledge, and I could be mistaken, but to my knowledge, I don't think the Su-34 ever came in this color scheme. The two schemes I remember are the old Russian scheme, which was like a seafoam greenish blue pattern with little white offsets, and then the new pattern is an all black top with that same sort of seafoam solid color underneath and a whitish gray nose cone. But nonetheless, we like to see variety. Su-34. Moving on, I think that is the end here. We've got some F-117 wings. And I don't think there was anything in these other than our airplane. I lied! There is a Chinese J-11. See, this is why I'm wondering if that drone is Chinese. You can tell it's a J-11 simply by the PLAAF markings. The Chinese actually bought licensing from the Russians to make their own variant of the Su-27. And that is the J-11. And then we have our nicely parked India FS.to F-35. Moving on to the next row of hangars. We've got empty. Oh, but we are already here. Don't worry, there's more. There's more. Okay, so next row of hangars. We've got empty, 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 empty. Ooh, F-117s on the backside. Okay, empty, 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 empty. We'll go look at, there's two hangars like this with the F-117s. We'll look at this one first. An A8 Corsair! I did not know this was here. This is the first time I've looked at this backside hangar. I don't know why there's an A8 Corsair. This airplane's been retired for decades, but it's cool to see. An A8 Corsair 2. Very neat. Parked amongst some partially disassembled F-117s ready to transport. Oh, did I miss? I did miss it. There is... There you are. We almost forgot Trucker with the Heart shirt. Can't forget Trucker with the Heart shirt. He's got, on the back of his Peterbilt, he's got an F-117, and he looks like he's talking very, very upset with his dispatcher with his very shiny hat about how the hell he's supposed to transport this F-117 backwards down the highway with only, 3 ratchet straps and some wood blocks underneath it. I mean, yeah, I'd be a little bit worried too. That's a really expensive airplane, and he's got no support vehicles. Anyway, my made-up scenarios aside, let's keep moving here. We did the back side. Here's the front side. There's some more F-117s in various states of disassembly. And we've got empty, 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 empty. Next up is the F-15I, the Israeli Air Force variant of the F-15 with the correct new generation engines on the rear. I love to see little details like that because I always catch little details like that. The F-15I and the F-15S, the Saudi Arabian variant, are F-15Es that were significantly overhauled by their respective governments to basically be like Gen 4.5 fighters. Some want to argue they're Gen 5. I just call them 4.5 to keep everyone happy. They're so advanced, actually, that the F-15EX program that the United States is running, the first 2 test aircraft in that program are actually F-15Ss. They pulled them right off of the F-15S assembly line, and you can tell that because on the canopy right next to the Wizzo station, right around here-ish on either side, there are 2 little protruding buds there that were for I believe, a missile warning system, which the U.S. did not option, but the housings for them are still there. So if you see one of the first 2 F-15Ss, you'll know it because it will have those little pop-out buds. Now we have an MQ-1 Reaper, or MQ-1 Predator rather. Remember, the Reaper had the upward going tail fins. The Predator has down 2 blades instead of 3. Don't quote me on the winglets, but we're missing them here. We were missing them on the Reaper as well. This guy I'm going to classify as a 757 for a couple of reasons, and you're going to argue with me on all of them except for the last one. First and foremost, it's a nice long tube-type fuselage. Also, the A321 has that. Okay, fine. You got those nice big open-back IAE engines. Well, the A321 had those also. Okay, fine. Twin bogies. It's a 757 look-alike. Also, lack of winglets. I guess the early A321s had little tiny winglets. So I'm going to call this a generic looking 757. It does not fully embody a 757 in my opinion, but it's close enough. We like to see it. It's fine. It's better than the Asoba generics. How about that? Can we agree on that? Another top flight F-16 with a white Crown Vic parked next to it. Pilot walking in circles and a ground crew guy walking in circles in a panic next to a cool, calm, and collected pilot. And we've got empty hangars. Coming around to the final hangar swath, we've got an American flag blowing in the wind, which is cool. An F-117. This is the same F-117 we saw parked next to the F-22. Love that extra added detail. Empty, and empty. Any closed up F-117, same models before, just to check canopies. So I think that is it for our whistle stop tour. Holy smokes, that this segment alone is 20 minutes. That's why my mic kind of faded. I was looking at the time for this recording. So I hope you guys enjoy this. I definitely like this scenery enough to re-record it over a dozen times at this point. So I highly recommend you check it out. I will have links in the description for both of these sceneries. That is going to do it for this. Oh, wait, no, it won't. No, it won't. No, it won't. There's one more thing we need to look at, and you might have seen it when we were landing. I know it's there because I saw it. We have a XB40 or X47, X47B. I don't know why the XB70, that like supersonic bomber from the 60s. I just throw an XB on there, but this is the X47B, I believe. The naval UCAV carrier capable UAS. Love to see it. And that's going to do it for our overview of the 2 sceneries we have available, as well as the NTTR. So actually all 3 of those will be in the video description, but now that will do it for this video. Thank you guys very much for watching. I will catch you in the next one, and as always, take it easy.